Old versus new. Let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about old versus new formulations of Dior Homme. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to be talking about, well, actually, we are still talking about Dior Homme. Dior Homme originals as well. I thought I was going to say Sport and Cologne. Anyways, so look, Dior Homme Sport and Dior Homme Cologne are some of my most favorite, or some of my favorite summertime fragrances. This right here, Dior Homme Sport, is my second bottle. And Dior Homme Cologne, this is one that I reached for a little bit less than I did the Dior Homme Sport. I personally think that these are some of the best summertime fragrances that really anybody can buy. They're timeless, they're ageless, and they're just phenomenal fragrances. Another good ass fragrance, in my opinion, that was so unfortunately discontinued. It really did break my heart when this was discontinued, to the point where, yo, you guys, it was like, yeah, I was very disappointed that when they discontinued Dior Homme Original, cacao, iris, cedar, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Like, if you guys are watching this, what the hell were you thinking? Anyways, amazing fragrance, but then they released the newest Dior Homme, and this honestly is not that bad of a fragrance either, but it's just not the original. But they also dropped another banger once upon a time, which smelled like pink lemonade to me, and it's Dior Homme Eau for men. This is another one that I have another bottle of, and I mean, take a look at that dent, you guys. This was a beautiful, is a beautiful fragrance, which luckily I get to relive and till my next bottle, which I probably, okay, there goes the cap. Anyways, today we're gonna focus mostly on some of the differences in between a couple of these fragrances, specifically one that I recently got. These were on sale at Macy's, so I decided to pick a couple more up. I'm gonna be recommending these for a lot of summer times. These are some of my favorite freshies, like I was saying, and they're just so easy, no-brainers, and they get a lot of attention and compliments. There's definitely a difference among some of these fragrances, and let's just go ahead and start off by talking about the ones with the least bit of difference. So it's going to be Dior Homme Cologne. So Dior Homme Cologne 2020 versus Dior Homme Cologne 2017, which is the pre-reformulated batches. I'm gonna just tell you guys that these are practically the same thing, okay? I didn't check out any of the other reviews. I just saw them online and I decided, you know what? These are fragrances that I really enjoy. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy these during the summertime. These are absolutely phenomenal recommendations for the summertime. Let me grab the new formulation and see for myself, are there differences in the scent profile? So while there aren't any scent profile differences, there are very clear bottle differences. From the 2017, you can see that it's a little bit of a fatter, thicker bottle, while this one is sleeker and a little bit longer. Also, the corners and the edges of both fragrances, there's a step up, absolutely a step up from the old to the new. This looks like the corners were refined out a little bit more so, and then that Dior Homme is on the cap instead of being on the actual bottle itself. I love these sleek designs. I think these are extremely luxurious and elegant. And then also we have that huge cologne on the bottom there rather than having the Dior Homme over there. Juicy citruses, a little bit of this grapefruit blossom, and some musk. Smells like lemonade, man, on a hot summer day. You could wear this in like the highest of heat. I did wear this one a little bit less than Dior Homme Sport, is because sometimes I wasn't really turned on by that musk note. It used to come off a little bit too much on my skin. But since then, my taste has developed, like a lot of you guys will notice in your journey or fragrance journey. Tastes develop, your nose and your senses, you perceive things a little bit differently. And nowadays, I have absolutely no problem rocking this. I do find that I like wearing this one more during the springtime because of that thicker musk, but still, that once upon a time turn off from the musk is no longer the case, and I actually really enjoy this fragrance as well. The one case where I think that this was reformulated, and honestly not in a bad way, but it depends on your perception of whatever fragrance you enjoy, fragrance notes you enjoy, is going to be Dior Homme Sport. So Dior Homme Sport has a significant change from fragrance to fragrance. So these two fragrances are a little bit different. With Dior Homme Sport 2017, you get notes of like blood orange, grapefruit, a lot of citruses. You also have this pear, and then there's that pink pepper, geranium. It's a bit fruitier, it's a bit juicier, and you also get like this slight rosy nuance in this fragrance in comparison to the Dior Homme 2020, the reformulated sport version. Also in the dry down, you get just basically the sandalwood and vetiver. So a lot of juicy citruses, slightly floral aspect with that woody dry down. However, with the Dior Homme, the new sport, there's a couple more notes actually. There's quite a few more notes, and it's a pretty different scent profile. Although the backbone and the whole DNA of the sport is still basically there, it adds a lot more to it. They strip away some of those citruses so it's not as juicy at the top. They also add notes of like elemi, and they add this very prominent olibanum along with some ambers. So it still has those woody notes in the dry down, which is probably going to be that similar sandalwood and the vetiver. However, it adds this very prominent resins. And what it seems like is that they took the original Dior Homme Sport 2017 and blended it with Dior Homme Original, the new Formulation 2020. The reason I say this is because of the fact that this one, Dior Homme 2020, also utilizes a lot of similar notes. It utilizes that elemi, it utilizes that olibanum, some of those ambers, the pink pepper, and it also has a very similar woodsy dry down coming from the vetiver and the Isoe Super in this fragrance. And so that's kind of why, or what I feel like happened with this fragrance is essentially they stripped away a couple of aspects of the original Sport, and they added and stripped away a couple of aspects from Dior Homme, and they all combined them into one and resulted into this one balanced fragrance, which I actually really enjoy. So the difference is pretty significant from the 2017 to the 2020, but I personally enjoy the step up. Considering the fact that I enjoy more oriental fragrances, this does have that more oriental edge. Although there are a couple of resin notes, the elemi has more of the citrus fresh top to it, so it still remains a relatively fresh fragrance, but as it dries down, it definitely gets much warmer than something like Dior Homme Sport. So this all in all, I think is a great daily driving fragrance and much more of a signature scent than Dior Homme Sport. I feel like this one lasts a lot longer as well, considering the fact that the notes in this are a lot less volatile. You have more distinctive base notes like that amber, the olibanum that this fragrance really rests on. It lasts a little bit longer than something like this. This does have those aldehydes at the top, those citruses, still pretty juicy citruses at the top, but a bit more ozonic, whereas this one is a lot juicier in the opening. All in all, they are in the same family of fragrances, but they did shift quite a few things around a bit. And the best way I could describe those differences is that if you combine the newest Dior Homme with the 2017 Dior Homme Sport, you end up with something like this. Fresh at the top, starts to dry down to something more resinous, warm, and woody. I can kind of understand why they might have taken this one away from more of like this juicy, watery quality, considering the fact that they had the Cologne edition, which kind of does a similar family of fragrances, but I do find these to be quite different, and I really did enjoy the subtle differences between this and this. And for me, in my opinion, it was more than just subtle differences. The musk really took this one in a completely different direction, in my opinion. While these both did like the summer high heat, super high heat fragrances, this one kind of just changes it. And I mean, while I think this will fare well during the summertime, during the high heat, the 2017 would have definitely been a better option, but the Cologne all in all is going to be the best option for the highest heat. Don't let that deter you away from wearing this in high heat, because it'll absolutely do just fine. In fact, I wore this one right here, Dior Homme, the original, on my trip to Ocean City, Maryland, and it was fantastic. I layered this one actually with Instant Crush, and I also layered it with my fragrance, Coconut Daiquiri, with Sphinx fragrances. So last two comparisons is going to be the Dior Homme Original versus the Dior Homme, the new one. I mean, there's really even no comparison. I think there's a lot to say in terms of what did they change? Everything. They literally changed everything. This fragrance used to have cedar, it used to have cacao, it used to have iris. It was like this buttery, had this super addicting crayon smell, and trust me, it smells a lot better than that sounds. This one just goes woody, resinous, and pretty good signature scent. I'm not gonna say this is a bad fragrance by any means, but it got a lot of hate because of what they did from the original to this one. I feel like this could have been a whole different fragrance in general, whereas this one should have been kept, in my opinion. This is borderline niche territory, in my opinion. Goes against the grain in comparison to a lot of designer fragrances, a lot of other designer fragrances, extremely addicting, so freaking sexy. I don't understand why they did that, but it is what it is. And then the other one, the other flanker that they discontinued and never came back with, was Dior Homme Eau, a little bit of a fresher version to the Dior Homme original, fresher and a bit more aromatic. It added notes of like lemon, coriander, etc. So it smelled like a pink lemonade versus this chocolate cacao. Well, not really chocolate, it was just like this dusted cacao with a lot of cedar wood, so bright blonde woods with that very creamy and almost cosmetic bag iris quality. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the main differences. There's definitely a difference between the newest Dior Homme Sport and Dior Homme Sport 2017. I still think this one is absolutely fantastic. I think this is a perfect must-have summertime fragrance for all men, including the Dior Homme Cologne. These are both essential fragrances in any man's collection. This is a great one, unfortunately now discontinued. I wouldn't really say like go and pay overpriced prices for it, but if you can find it for like under 150 bucks, even for 150 bucks, I think this is still worth it. A designer fragrance that genuinely you could rock every single day. Juicy, you get a lot of pear, you get a lot of citruses, dries down to these beautiful woods. I think it's a fantastic fragrance. I would cap it at like 150 bucks, but if you live in hot climates where you're gonna rock something like this, I would maybe personally pay up to 180, but I wouldn't recommend paying any more than that. And Dior Homme Cologne, it's the same thing. There's absolutely no difference, and now I have these 2 bottles, which I'm probably going to drink since they smell like lemonade. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a comparison and contrast between the 2017 formulations and the 2020, and a couple of the discontinued. I'm still so damn sad and bummed. I will forever be upset about them discontinuing the original Dior Homme. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about the originals. Have you ever gotten your nose on it? And what do you think about them discontinuing it? Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Till the next video, peace.